Good evening. It is May 8th, 2024, and I'm sure lots of you are just jonesing to know what's going on. You've heard that there's X class flares, you've heard that there's CME flares, so let's get down and look at the latest news. You're going to look at a view of our sun in 171 angstroms. You're going to notice some wobbling around the edges of the pictures. The satellites are resetting and doing some maintenance. So the satellites are kind of rolling over at this point, and that's what that is. It's just normal maintenance. We got 3663 up here, 3664, and 3666 or 3668 right up here. 6 and 6 8 and 6 4 have grown together. They are one sunspot. And if you watch down here, you can just see the constant M class and X class flaring going on down here. Long duration, active regions, and they are releasing Siamese with them. This is our player that has released an X class and some M class flares going to the north. These may not necessarily impact Earth unless they are really a horizontally wide release. So if this comes flat and downwards or flat and wide, it can hit Earth. It may circle back just a little bit. But most of our activity is going to come from right here, and there is some minor eruptions coming off the limb over in this area. You can see here we've got a tornado, a filament, and some tornadoes down here. You can begin to see the sunspot regions that are lurking around the limb and how active they are. They are extremely active. Now, let's look at those first because that's the really exciting news. Let's look at our composite map here. This is the stuff in the yellow right here is the stuff that was here last month that's on the backside of the sun that is surviving the rotation. So what is in yellow is about a week behind what we have on the front of the sun. And that these great big dark spots are a whole slew of sunspots that dumped all the really big active flaring last month. So we have 3 or 4 sunspots up here, a couple of sunspots down here that were responsible for some very big CMEs last month and very big flares, and those are about a week behind what we have right now. Now, we have 3364 that's been right up here. That's responsible for anything moving up and north away. We have 367 and 3667. That is responsible for the things blasting to the side. And any filaments over here, that's what's moving sideways. And then we have 3668 and 3664 down here. They have grown together as 664 has grown in complexity and size. And it is just a monster since it's ticked out of Earth facing, just like it always does. You know, we get Earth facing, it ticks out of Earth facing, it evolves, it grows, it changes its magnetic structure to become more complex, and it gets more eruptive. And that's exactly what's happened with this sunspot. So let's go down and look at this. 366 is beta delta or beta gamma. 3664 is beta gamma delta. 3668 is beta, and we have 3667 as an alpha class. 36670 is a beta class. Just because it is alpha, don't think that it cannot leave a major flare, okay, or a CME. They are capable of dropping a major CME or flare. So let's look at our flare. We started off early this morning with a huge X 4.52 class flare. And then we took a huge breath and we dropped two big M class flares or medium sized M class flares that were very long duration. Why I say it's big is because these were responsible for dropping our big CMEs that we have to talk about this morning. Okay, so these dropped two great big CMEs. We have a relatively quick duration M class flare, some C class flares, quick duration M class flares that aren't going to do much. They're just pretty lights, maybe a quick pop, but they are not responsible for much. But then we get into this. We've got a long duration M class flares that were multiple peaks. We have an M class flare, quick M class flare, longer M class flare, and even longer X class flare, dropping into multiple peaks of M class flares before it drops another long duration M class flare. These will be responsible for dropping some CMEs that give us some activity. Then we take a breath. The sun takes a breather, drops back into C class, and then immediately goes back into an M class flare, peaking out in an X class flare and another M long duration XM class flare. Not all of this will hit Earth. Remember, M class flares, if they're short duration, will not do much. They have to be the long duration that indicate that there was a CME release with it. So what happened with our CMEs? Well, let's just jump back in here. We started out this morning, well, it would have been last night, Eastern time, a little about 11 o'clock. Why is that saying 5 something? That is not 5 something. They've got that listed at 3:24. Okay, about 3:24 we had a CME. This is the picture from it that they took a couple hours afterwards to track the activity from that. So this is about 2 hours after it erupted. So you can see here we've got a major CME going on here. We have a lot of dense plasma going on. Nice, good shock wave. This is coming more toward us than down. And you can see here we have a shock wave going the rest of the way around the halo. You can see the wind moving outwards. So this is going to be probably more of a halo hit. From everything that Noah Embryll has been doing that I've seen today and everything that I have seen online, this will be a direct hit. Followed this is the earlier projection of what that looked like starting out. They are saying it's a half halo hit. So it is going halfway around the globe with a shock wave that is hitting the rest of the sun. So this is the major part of the CME, but there is a shock wave with it that will give us a full halo. This is about 2 hours afterwards. You can see how this is coming out. It is coming straight at Earth. You can see how dense all that plasma is continuing to pour out of the sun. We have another blast here. This is from 3663. Probably one of the M-class flares moving up and away. It is slower. So the first blast is a 4, moving into 1,200 kilometers per second. So this down here is moving at about 1,200 kilometers per second. This blast is moving at 500. So this is laying down snow. This stuff is really moving. We have a blast coming over here from 3670. It is moving Let's see how fast that one was moving. That is only moving at about 407 kilometers per second, so it's laying down the snow. So what we have going on is this is laying down snow. We have um, so we had something lay down some snow. We have a quick burst that's going to pick up that snow in front of it and shove it. So you want to look for that first initial peak or onset to be big. Now we've got a CME here that's going slower. This is moving even slower. We've got another narrow blast, probably a flare coming out to the side. It's probably not going to be much. It's moving very slow, but it's laying down snow. So picture the snow as a bunch of little balls. Now, we're going to get to this one. This one is moving up and away, and it's probably moving from 3667, moving upwards. It probably will not affect us. You can see here we have a halo all the way around. It is still moving outwards in a wind that is still leaving the sun. So we are still getting a steady wind. It is here 7 hours later, and we have a steady wind and activity that is still moving at us 7 hours later. We have another small blast here, probably a flare. It isn't showing much of an impact, not showing much plasma there. It's not going to impact us by much. But here we have a solid CME blast. It is coming from 3664 and 3668, and it is a direct hit. It's not moving sideways. It is moving directly at Earth. This one is moving at 800 kilometers per second, direct hit, semi-thick, semi-dense. So it is going to catch up with some of the slower stuff, maybe not. It is followed by, this is coming off the outgoing limb from 600 or 3670 or 36, yeah, I think this is 3670, or this may even be around the backside limb from the sunspots that have not made it around the limb. This is pretty dense, and I'm seeing a very strong signature here. Just because these are around the limb, if the eruption in the CME is large enough, they can reach around from the backside of the sun and hit us if they're in the right direction. So I would not rule out a little activity from this, but I'm not thinking there's going to be much off that. However, we've got one here. It's picking up a little bit more here. You could start to see more wind, more shock wave. We might be getting a little bit off that. And then we have another quick, small, narrow CME leaving the blast here from 3664. And that is just the activity today, in the last 24 hours. So we have an initial burst that I look for it to continue for at least 7 hours. So it's going to hit hard, it's going to hit fast, it's going to continue at a decent level. I'm not going to say it's going to hit huge levels, but I would at least expect a 3 to a 4. Because these are moving relatively slowly. They may be dense, but they're slow. The initial burst is going to be hard and fast, and it's very, very thick density. As it slows down, the ones following it, we're moving very slowly. They are very thick. They're very dense with plasma. Those will continue. And then there is this one back here coming um, several hours later that, you know, there are some activities if there's a little bit of residual wind from them, even though they're narrow, if there's a shock wave to them that may pick up those slower winds and move them faster. We do need to keep an eye on the activity for the next couple days because that sunspot will be with us for the next couple days. Let's go and look at our 10-day forecast. Now this is for Traverse City, Michigan, so Wisconsin and Minnesota, you know that you're about a day and a half ahead of us. So we have moving in tonight, or tomorrow night, we're going to be semi-cloudy. We're looking for that activity to possibly start hitting as early as sometime the 10th, the early morning hour, or, going into the morning hours of the 10th. And into 11th, we are going to have cloudy to partly cloudy skies. Ooh, looks like we might get a little rain, and that wasn't there earlier. But Saturday night is our better chance, and that is clear skies. We have a little rain on Sunday night, that showers becoming less numerous the later it gets, so we may get some partly clearing skies there. Monday night, if activities continue, we may get a chance on Monday night, and then Tuesday we are into the rain, and we should see some rain and possible thunder showers for a couple days, and it's just that time of year. But hopefully by the time, that takes 3 or 4 days to get through, we get a break, and in another couple of days of showers. By that time, the other sunspot ranges or sunspots should be around, and we should see what they are doing and if they are going to elevate activity. Now we are moving higher into maximum. We are starting to hit that level where we should start seeing more KP3 nights, more KP4 nights on a regular basis. And know that you can, if you're, up around the 45th parallel, you should start seeing auroras at a KP3 level with a camera on anytime they hit that level, you can get something at a KP4 and a KP3. So you should still go out and try. My advice is this: you need to start learning what these charts mean. You need to start learning how to read the different graphs and charts. And then you need to be going out at night and looking at what is going on in your sky and basing and learning what it means in a visual observation. And that's how you learn what to expect out of these storms. That's how you learn to guess what's going to happen. Now, we still have the polarities to work at. Going over here and looking at the emerald spiral. Down here, they are predicting that we should get a peak going into midnight, early morning hours on the 11th. That we should have winds lasting through the 12th and possibly at some elevated level into the 13th. So we should have some activity Saturday into Sunday so that you should be able to get a view of the sun or at some auroras this weekend. Know that because of the magnetic reversal on Earth, when we get a good G2 warn storm, which is a KP5, KP6, you do not have to be up at Lake Superior. You don't have to be right in northern Michigan. If the skies are clear enough, you should be able to see them in lower Michigan, possibly as low as upper Indiana, upper Ohio. You should be able to see them in the Dakotas, most of Minnesota, Wisconsin, possibly the top of Illinois. It is not unreasonable I mean, a KP7 has been seen as low as Texas and New Mexico under the right conditions. So it has to be a negative BZ. So the number, this red line has to be at the bottom of so you look at the white line. If the red is underneath, then you know you have the right number. If it's above it, then it's a positive number, and it's like opposites attract, and the same polarity rejects each other. So we're a positive in the north. So if it's a positive, it's going to skate right past us. If it's a negative BZ, it's going to filter right down into our poles and right down into our atmosphere. Um, these are relatively low wind speeds, and that's been the biggest thing with all the storms this year. We just are not getting the wind speeds. These are really super slow wind speeds. We're used to seeing wind speeds, over 1,000 kilometers per hour on a normal basis last cycle. And we had wonderful storms last cycle because we had such fast wind speeds. And there was a big oomph behind them. We're lacking that right now. And we may lack that until we get closer to the peak of this cycle and start sliding down the backside. Last cycle, our best storms happened on the backside. So once we hit the peak, the best storms happened on the way down. So that is what you have to expect. Plan accordingly. Please, people, use common sense out here and park on the same side of the road you're going to. Do not park on both sides of the road. Because when you park on both sides of the road, emergency services cannot get past you. And you're leaving traffic no way to avoid hitting somebody going to their car if somebody steps out in front of you or in front of them. So if I'm going down between two lanes of parked cars and somebody steps down in front of me, I have no way to avoid hitting them. There's nowhere to swerve to. Please park on one side of the road. Even if you have to walk farther, park on one side of the road. It makes everybody safer. And if you see somebody making the mistake of parking on the side of the road, correct them. Because everybody's safety depends on it. And I'm gonna say this, and I know a lot of people are gonna think I'm really exaggerating, but I'm not. If we don't start taking care of our dark sky areas, if we do not start monitoring our dark sky areas better and enforcing the rules better, then the parks could say, hey, this is a free-for-all and somebody's going to get killed and our insurance won't cover it. And they're going to start closing these areas down at night. And we won't have them anymore. Last cycle, we didn't have many people using cell phones. This year, it's going to quadruple the number of people that are out there aurora hunting. Because everybody now has a tool that they can take pictures of the dark sky with. So expect the numbers of people out there to quadruple. It's no longer just going to be the people with professional cameras that know what they're doing. So we have got to start teaching those that don't know what they're doing the safe way to do what we're doing. And if that means walking up to somebody who's making a mistake and saying, hey, we don't do that. Hey, we follow the parking rules and we do that for a reason. We don't want to lose our dark sky areas. Hey, don't park on that side of the road because if you have to cross the road, you're going to get hurt. park on the same side of the road you're going to. We want you to be safe. There's nice ways to say things that's going to keep people safer, and they're going to appreciate that you're looking out for them. Okay. In other news, we are finally, maybe, found a company that can do sweatshirts and t shirts. And I am hopefully going to have some news on that in the next week or so here. And we are working on that one. And hopefully, we will be able to get that going for you that has something reflective, t shirts, sweatshirts that are reflective that you can wear, and hopefully, possibly some vests with some sort of logo or with our name on them. But the vests are really cool because you can stick camera lenses, extra batteries. You can fit them over winter coats. You can fit them over a t shirt. You can fit them over a jacket. But you can drop keys, clip keys to them, drop them in a pocket, and everything you need, you can carry hands free. So all you have in your hands is your flashlight and your tripod. So it is going to be a wonderful thing, and I really want everybody thinking about vests if we can get our hands on them because they are the biggest benefit you will ever get. Because just because you have hands free, you carry everything you need on your body, plus it's keeping you safe because it's got something that's going to alert people you're there. A car will see you in the dark and know that you are there, and you won't get hit by somebody. Somebody backing up a car will catch that vest in their rear view mirror and they won't back into you. So I'm going to leave it there. Everybody plan accordingly. I will do an update closer to when the Auroras are going to pop. And I will get a hold of Father to see if we can get the church opened up. But I will not be up at the church this time. If we get Auroras, I will more than likely be out working because I have a few projects that I have to get done as soon as the Auroras come. So that are critical to some projects I am working on. So I probably will not be up to the church. Maybe I probably just won't be up to the church. But I am trying to get some other photographers up there that can help people. All right, I will leave it there. Everybody enjoy and have fun.